Right, the first technique is called Yokuto. And yoku, if you try to look at it in the Japanese dictionary, you're not going to find it as yoku. It'll come up as kumu, which means to do this. Yeah, this is the kumu. So the very first technique of the Koto Ryu is now, we're starting from a grappling position, and this is an obvious position for throws. Probably going to enter with a hip and throw a hip throw, or they can come under and do a seirei nage. There's endless ways they could do things like osotagari. So a kumu position is meant that you're grappling. It may even become an onikudaki thing. Okay, so one more time. So now yoku, the reading is weird. If you try to find it in the dictionary, you're not going to find it as yoku. We read it especially as that, probably because this is a Chinese original art that came to Japan, and a lot of times the Chinese pronunciation of that name will get carried over into Japan. So the yoku is probably coming from something that sounds like that in Chinese. And it means to kumu. To means to knock down or throw. It can mean either one. It can mean to hit and knock down, or to pick up and slam. In this case, it's going to mean to hit and knock down. So now, since this is a kumu position, okay, we're grappling around, and we're wrestling and we're grappling. So because this is a kumu position, one of the things that you want to do is free yourself from his grip. Okay, if he's holding me, he can control where my head goes, my weight. Yeah. So this technique is really centered on, I want his grips broken off of my my sleeve, so I can freely use this. The first technique, the first part is to take the Bujinkan, go ahead, relax, and I'm going to put it into here. Okay? Try to strike into that spot here. Okay, but if he's controlling that arm strongly, I'm not going to get there, or at least I won't get there with force. Okay? The other part of this technique is that I'm going to raise the foot into the groin. Okay? So this and this are supposed to be at the same time. But this is actually a kyojutsu technique. Okay, only one of them will be kyo, and one of them will be jitsu. So if this is kyo, I'm setting this up to scare him. He's probably going to throw his head back. Okay, when they throw their head back, they're exposing everything here. Okay. Now, if I do the foot first, and he sees my leg coming towards him, he's probably going to throw his hips back. So I raise my leg, throw his hips back. That gives me that spot. So one or the other will be kyo and one will be jitsu. One will be the truth, and one is the feint, and one is the actual attack. Okay, now the way to practice this is first start square. Yep, we're going to stand square, and I'm going to hold the grip. So the basic one more break, is Koto Ryu has specific leg work. Okay, Yokuto Ryu is always very roundish. You're always going in a circular motion around the opponent and the chushin. So there's a center point, your opponent's centered, and then I maintain space and distance, and I work around him. The Koto Ryu is on a linear, and it's specifically with a cross pattern. Go ahead, take a break. This is going to take a second to explain. The leg work of the Koto Ryu. Well, not every technique is going to have cross-legged work. Okay, you're not going to do that all the time. You'll do it when it's convenient. But the thing that's special about this leg work, and why it's related to ninjutsu, is about the distance. So, for example, if I make a line and I take a step, let's take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, and I make that distance there. If I do the crosswalk, I take a step back, then I cross that step, and then 2, so there's 2, and then if I take that 3rd step, you're going to have about this much more space. If we mark it, you'll see that everyone will come out about that much more. And that doesn't seem like much, but the Japanese had a running system and a courier system where they would send messages, and these runners, they're monks, and their specialty was to run all day to get messages from one place to another. And they had discovered that in the beginning it's hard on the hips and you got to learn to do it, but if you consistently run like that, you'll run in the same amount of strides. You're going to cover much more distance, especially when you're talking over kilometers. So ninjutsu realized that. They took it from the monks, and they tried to work that into combat. So again, say if I'm picking a lock or digging a hole and he sees me and he comes out to grab me, I'm going to use that walk so that I can keep my vision on him and I can still look each way. So the Koto Ryu's techniques, for example, Omote Gyaku, as he's coming at me, I want to crosswalk. Okay? And he's going to continue to try to grab me. Okay, so while I'm crosswalking, then you take the hand and you go down. So the techniques are supposed to be thought of as, I'm not just standing there and letting him grab me. Okay? Properly, I'm trying to run away. I don't want to fight him. And hopefully I'm going to outrun him. But if he continues to grab, I need to learn to fight in that running posture. because I'm running away. So that's the origins of why we have this leg work in the Koto Ryu. So if he's punching at me and I do that crosswalk, it's because I'm trying to run away. I'm not trying to stay and face and fight it. For the Koto Ryu, the objective was, if you didn't have to kill, you don't. You just need to get out, get over the wall, and through the moat, and back home before they can catch you. And that was what they were skilled at. They weren't the greatest of fighters, but they were slippery. Okay, so back to Yokuto. So the first part, we start square. Now what I want to do is I want to use that footwork to off balance him, but I'm going to take this one backwards. Now when I bring that foot around, this is jam. If he takes his head back and exposes himself easily. Okay, so slow, pull, push. I'm not going to poke every time. We don't need to do that to each other. This stuff, another part of the Koto Ryu, the Densho, you'll find that Boshiken, which means the thumb strike, is also written as Hisoken or Shitoken, which means there's a blade there. So the Koto Ryu is not to be meant to really be thought of as an unarmed art, because there wasn't such a thing. In the 1500s, the young boys, the bushi, always had a blade on them. They always, even if they didn't have their sword, they'd have some kind of small tanto or a shuriken or some kind of weapon. Their bow and arrow. So as a warrior or a shinobi, you didn't walk around unarmed. So when it's written in there as Boshiken or Shitoken or Hisoken, it's possible that that is a knife. So if he grabs me, I immediately go for the kill. And he tries to wrestle with me, I just stick it in his neck. While he's dying, push away and get your blade back. So this can change. Every time you teach this kata, it can slightly change. Okay, back to the basics. So we first square. Then we're going to do this push. I'm pulling with this hand and pushing with this hand. But the push would be either a blade in his neck or you grab his neck. Like for example, in the Weido, when Takamatsu Sensei passed this art on, Hatsumi Sensei was the Boshiken or the Shitoken, or possibly sticking a blade in the neck, written in the form. But when he wrote it for Ueno, it was the same Boshiken into the neck, but you're grabbing them. And then in another densho that I saw, which I have a photo of later, I can show you, is that the helmet of the samurai helmet has these ropes that crisscross the neck and come under the chin. So, he's got a good example. So think of these as cords for the helmet. When they grapple, you grab their cords. And then once you've got the cords, okay, you've got leverage. If I push, you can run away and just take your neck away. But if he has cords on his helmet and I grab those cords and I start shoving my thumb into his throat, there's nowhere for him to go. The leverage is there for me I can probably puncture through if I have a nice sharp nail. Okay, so that's the idea behind all this. So push and pull. It's normally done in the neck. So if they don't have a jacket on and they come and they grab you, you go to the thumb to that same spot and then grab around the back of their neck and grab his leg. And then I've got that. He throws his head back, he wants to get away, and closes his mouth. Square. Let's just use the shoulder for now because it's the balance breaking that's the key. So with the footwork, I step back, push and pull. Okay. Now if he decides to pull his head back, I would go for the low. Okay, back to the square. If I throw the kick and he throws his head forward, then I push the thing. You just drive him into the ground and. Okay, go ahead and play with that for a few minutes. Thank you. When doing the off balancing. Start square. So you make sure you start square. Okay, feet are square. This is just for the study, for the form. Okay. Of course, in fighting, you're not going to start square. But by starting square, I'm going to study about how to break his balance. So with the cross step in this grip, okay, you don't want to take a small step and then try to pull. Okay. You don't want to use any power really. You kind of want to lock this in. Okay. Make sure you get a good grip too. If I hold his jacket loosely, right now we're wearing a lot of layers, but if you hold the sleeve loosely, there's a chance they can pull their elbow back and you start getting in that sleeve like that. So when you grab the sleeve, you want to grab the material, bunch it up, okay, so that it's tight around his arm. So when you've got that spot there, and I take my step, if I step here, I have to pull. Okay. So what I want to do is kamae. Okay. Take that step back using your body weight. Here, boom. And now my knife is right in his throat. Okay, all right, go ahead and experiment with that a little bit. Make sure you're pulling out and this way. Don't pull down, okay? So when I have this here, okay, I don't want to pull here because he's just going to charge me. This hand posts out, just like kamae. This hand's going to post, neck into the throat or a hand on the shoulder. Get the grip, and kamae. Easy to throw. I don't have to use a lot of power. I just get him off balance first and then use the throw. Thank you. Okay, so again, starting square. One. Make sure that your weight isn't so that I want to be able to kick with this front leg, okay? So if I come back here, put my weights on my front leg, there's a gap of timing. So make sure that you go back with the leg ready to raise. Want to tack and kick. Okay, as that leg comes down and he's holding your sleeve, you're going to come up with the palm to the chin, and now by posting this, I can take this arm and strip it out. I've got my arm free. One, two, put it down behind you. Strike. So this technique name means, Yokuto means how to handle the situation when someone's trying to kumu or grab you and throw you. So when he grabs me and tries to throw me, the idea is that anytime they do that, I'm going to look for this spot and this spot and keep them away. If I let him get his hip in there, he can probably throw me. So to keep them away, jab at the throat, and you keep their crotch wary of their crotch. Okay, slow. One, two, behind you. Hit. Make sure that don't just stop here, because then this holding on. This will happen. Okay. As you're pulling, push. You want this arm free. Boom. You need to go into other blocks. The idea of this is when someone tries to grapple with you and throw you, how to get their grip off. One, two, three. Okay, still there? Move over. One, two. I'm stepping back. Same thing. Just try to post and pull. Okay, nice. Okay, last point. So we start square. And remember, I'm going to do my movement before he tries to throw me. Once I realize he's done this grip, there's nothing he can do except for go for throws. If he takes a hand off and starts to throw a punch, I'm going to be aware of that real quick. As soon as it comes up, you're aware of it. You can go under and catch him, or you start holding his shoulder. So if he's grabbing me, he's going to try to throw me. Right. So as soon as that grip comes on, take your command. I take that cross step back, and as I put my weight in the back leg, you're going to either strike the throat or hit the throat. Make sure that when you put the leg down, it's behind, and we've gone through all this. So everybody, I think, is with this far. Now here, as you're traveling forward, you're flipping and hitting hard into the bottom of the chin. So you're striking them and hitting them hard that way, and stripping that grip. So hopefully he's gone flying. But if they're still holding there, cover that hand, go underneath, and grab his wrist. Turn the arm over, you've got it again. You can snap it this way, or you can twist it, or I can use the wing. So the final part here is important. The meaning of part of the key point of this kata is I want to get free from his grip. Otherwise he's going to continue to try to throw me. So I'm striking, stripping. That comes free. If that one doesn't come free, just go underneath it and grab the wrist and take it. Okay. So that's Yokuto. That means when someone's trying to grab you, you're going to knock them down. So even if it's simple, as soon as they come, smack. And you might even skip a lot of all that. It might just come into, as soon as he grabs you, stroke it right into his face. And as he goes back, pull that arm back. And that might be all you. Okay. So take your time, go slow, and look for all those different opportunities. It's not the main core technique that you always want to focus on. See what else reveals itself to you. Okay.